Hey everyone, it's Tanya Tomic, and I am doing a new series where I'm rereading a book from my childhood. Something that maybe I'm a little bit hazy on. Maybe it's been many years since I read the book. And I'm going to tell you what I remember. I'm going to read the book, and then I'm going to give you a synopsis of the book while it's fresh in my mind, and we'll compare it and see how well I did. Today's book is going to be Stranger with My Face by Lois Duncan. I loved Lois Duncan so much when I was in elementary school. I read all the Lois Duncan books that I could get my hands on, and this was either my first or it was my favorite one. So Stranger with My Face is about these two cousins, like Patty Duke style, identical cousins, and they don't know each other exists, like Parent Trap style. And the one cousin starts dreaming of the other cousin night after night, dreaming that there's this cousin that looks like her that she's friends with, and she's so friendly and nice, and that she gets along with her. And then she's telling her that she's coming to her via astral projection, and that's how she's visiting her. And she wants her to astral project to her so they can like go out in the world and play or whatever. And so she doesn't do it at first, and she has these other friends at school and stuff. And then the cousin convinces her to do it. So she astral projects, and as soon as she does that, the cousin goes into her body and leaves her as like a ghostly figure out in the world. And she wanders around at her house and wanders around at her school. Her friends start hanging out with her cousin, and they just really like her, and they get along with her really well, and all of a sudden she's their new best friend and everything. And then the girl is upset and freaking out. I can't believe it. And she finds out where her cousin lives or something, or she talks to her cousin sometimes. Her cousin's like, ha ha ha, I trapped you. And she finds out where her cousin lives, and she goes to her house and realizes that she's in the hospital in a coma, and figures out that's why she astral projected into her body, because she can't move her own body and she's dying, and she's going to take over her cousin that she never met. So then the girl goes into her body and does like a bell and the butterfly blinking thing, a diving bell and the butterfly blinking the story, and gets somebody to understand, and her friends get help and trick her cousin, or they do exorcism. Her cousin goes out of her body, and then she goes back in her body, and then her cousin dies. The end. I don't know how much of that is true. I think I'm pretty certain that the first part of what I just told you was real. The rest of the stuff I made up. Part of my rules for this video series is that I have to tell you the synopsis, and I have to give you an ending, whether I know it or not. I'm going to make it up. So I think the first part's right. And then from the point where she goes out of her body, I don't know. I don't remember. But I remember really, really liking being into it and being like, what's going to happen? This is crazy. So I'm going to read the book, then we can see how I did. Okay guys, I'm back, and I finished Stranger with My Face by Lois Duncan. And while some of the stuff I remembered about it was in here, there was a lot more going on that I didn't remember about it. So basically, Stranger with My Face is about a girl who lives on the East Coast near the ocean, actually in this island town where she takes a ferry to the mainland to go to school. And she lives in this like house up on these rocks overlooking the ocean. It is rocky and cold, so it's not really like beachy, although they can go to the beach, but not from her house. There's like treacherous rocks. And she lives there with her family, her parents and her two siblings. Now, none of this stuff I remembered. I did not remember any of these things. What I did remember was that she does have this identical, I thought it was identical cousin, I think, but it's an identical twin who starts visiting her. Her spirit starts visiting her. So, okay. At the beginning of this book, it starts out where she seems kind of shallow to me. Starts out where she's hanging out with these like popular kids, and she's being accepted for being popular, and she's thinking about like her looks and her like ranking in the school, and then these other people at school that aren't as popular, and there's this guy who'd been in a disfiguring accident, and he's kind of negative, and she sees him, she sees him as like someone who's kind of a downer or something. I don't, maybe being a little harsh. And at first I was like, I don't remember this stuff. What kind of book is this? And then the character really grows as the book progresses. It goes at least for a year, at least for a school year, from summer to the next summer. I don't know if it's like 1 year or if there's even 2 years, but she does grow. Things start happening where she sees this twin sister, or she feels this presence, and, she's going through stuff with her family. She goes through stuff with this peer group, and she really, things change from the sort of innocent shallowness that things start at, where when things get serious and things get frightening for her, she really has to grow a lot and figure out, what's important to her, and how to handle things, because things get more and more dangerous because this twin is coming to visit her more and more often, and she starts trying to, these might be some spoilers, okay, but she starts trying to get the main character to come out of her body and meet her on the astral plane, like Jonathan Richman, and it gets, weird, and it gets creepier, and then things start getting serious when accidents start happening, and they may be because of this twin sister, and she finds out a little bit more about her and finds out she's not a very nice person, not a very good person, and things get worse, and the things that get worse I kind of remember, where the twin sister, this is a huge spoiler right now, that the twin sister tries to take over her life, wants to be her, basically wants to take over and be her, and that is something I did remember from reading it, and that's a main part of the book. It comes in a little bit towards the end, and that's the part I remember. But as for like all this other stuff's going on with her and her friends, and she has this other best friend who ends up moving away. That's my one complaint about the book, is that we never really have closure with her best friend. We never really, I mean, I guess it leaves it to where like things might be resolved, but I feel like it's not. I feel like it is not resolved by the end of the book. But I really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought that I would. I mean, I thought I'd enjoy it in a certain sense, but I thought it would feel younger. I mean, it does feel like, YA fiction, but it might be because the books that I have been reading up till now have been for really younger kids. But it did feel like there was some sophisticated stuff in here, some stuff coming of age, like for real kind of stuff in here, and some real, like a testing of her strength and character, that kind of stuff was going on, and it felt, there was a sense of realism to it, and it felt good, and I felt psychologically true and emotionally true, and I really enjoyed that about it. I feel like I would recommend this for anyone, like teenage or wanting to read teenage type fiction, especially wanting to read like eerie stuff. I think that you would enjoy this. I think it's one that can be enjoyed. At first I was thinking this might be dated because some of the attitudes, but that's how good I think the book is. It's like the attitudes were sort of immature on her part, and she did grow as the story went on. I mean, it wasn't anything, you know, super amazing where I had an eye-opening experience. I mean, it is, you know, young adult, but it was still good. It was good. It was solid. I enjoyed it. So that is Stranger with My Face. Basically, what I remembered was just the stranger with her face part and nothing else. And yeah, I really enjoyed revisiting this book. And let me know what you think in the comments below if you've read this or any other Lois Duncan. I used to really like Lois Duncan when I was in, oh my gosh, I want to say when I was in elementary school, which is like 12. I read a lot of Lois Duncan and Stephen King and stuff like that when I was 12, around that age. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I really read a lot of her books, and I enjoyed them. And I can't remember all the other ones I read. I Know What You Did Last Summer, but I know I read more. I can't remember which ones they even were. But let me know, have you read a lot of Lois Duncan? Do you enjoy this one? What other ones have you read? And what other books? Well, you don't know what books I read. What other type books? Do you want me to do other Lois Duncans or any other younger? Like I read a lot of the Oz books and Nancy Drew and I don't know, all kinds of books. I was an avid reader when I was younger. So I'm thinking of doing Carrie, because one of my friends mentioned something about Carrie that I totally didn't remember that I should have remembered because it was like fundamental. So but like I said, I read it when I was 12. So go figure. I may have been 13, but I think I was 12. Anyway, that is it for today's video. Thanks for watching.